Welcome back to the Remedial Film Class Podcast. I'm your host, Dan.
And I'm Travis.
And I'm George.
And be honest with me, guys. Which one of you is George Clooney? Which one of you is the other guy? Huh?
Fucking George Clooney.
Hey,
You're George Clooney?
I want to be.
No, you're Jacob.
Yeah, probably.
We watched From Dusk Till Dawn, a Robert Rodriguez classic. George, how you doing tonight, man?
I have a shit grin from ear to ear, bro. It's fucking great.
Awesome. And Travis, man, how you doing?
Yeah. I'm amazing.
Or should I call
Right
you
now.
George? I mean, it's confusing. I could call you both George.
Dude, I'm very excited to talk about this. I was watching the movie and I'm like, George he's either going to absolutely love this or he's going to hate it. But I feel like the content, he probably sat there and just smirked like 9 or 10 times. It's like, oh my God.
If
that's
George
that. Oh,
hates
that's
this
that.
movie, I think
We're
George
done.
is fired.
No, dude, there's no way,
There'll
bro.
be no George next week.
There's no way, bro.
He's ready. I was like, yes, he's finally ready for this movie.
It took us a while to get here. We had to build a foundation. George, initial thoughts from Dusk Till Dawn.
All right. Well, I mean, initial thoughts.
It's not better than
Dude,
Godfather.
I couldn't stop smiling. Like, Travis came to my place, because obviously we record in my place. And like, I opened the door and I'm like, I can't not smile. This movie just...
He was giving me the look like the look was he was trying to give me what the did you guys make me watch look, but he had like a grin enough to where I knew he was like, the fuck did you guys just make me watch? So I was like, yeah.
Where were you
And
in
I
the
almost-
movie when Travis showed up, George?
He was done.
You were done. Okay.
Yeah. Just finished like 5 minutes.
I had to
prior.
rewatch the ending before I came over, so I kind of I didn't want to watch it with him because it's such a phenomenal ending and so out of the blue. Just you're not expecting that. Now, if we would have done like a bracket of vampire movies or whatever, you would have known it was coming. But
Wait,
just,
way
this is
better
a-
this way.
This is a vampire movie?
oh wait, yeah, no.
I only watched the first hour or so. It seemed like a pretty straightforward kind of
It was
road
like a Quentin
movie.
Tarantino movie.
Yeah.
It was like Pulp Fiction.
It did.
Yeah.
Dude, that's what I was thinking through like the first half of the movie. But I've actually never seen Quentin Tarantino act
Right.
like that, like for that amount of time. I've seen him like,
What was
do
the
a
character he played in
cameo,
Pulp
whatever.
Fiction,
yeah.
but a little creepier?
Yeah. Actually, I guess I have seen him act, because I have seen that. But yeah, it's like the whole beginning was like it's so outrageous, but it's like these dudes are like super cool. Like when I say cool, like cool as a cucumber.
Mhm.
Although like Tarantino's character really isn't, but like Clooney is.
He's a little
like-
bit of a Sonny.
But like what I'm saying is when they're walking away from the liquor store,
Right.
and it's exploding in the background.
And they're just
And they're
bantering.
not flinching.
Right.
And he's like, and Clooney says something, well, what does he say? Like low key, or like, like I said,
Right,
low key.
And
keep
he's
it,
yelling about it.
blah, blah.
How's your fucking hand? Oh, it's great.
Yeah, and the thing's exploding in the background.
Right.
They're not even flinching.
Mhm.
Like that is so Tarantino.
Yeah.
The first half of the movie was all like, it was all about like interactions between people,
hmm
which is exactly the kind of movie I love. It's why I love Tarantino movies, because basically Tarantino movies are just that.
Well, Rodriguez, I kind of feel it's unfair that we kind of threw you into a Rodriguez movie like this because you didn't see Desperado, which is what his like signature movie is, and
Okay.
him and Tarantino are so similar in the way they film things and the way they present things,
Yeah.
but Tarantino's writing is totally different. Like it's way headier. It's a lot more, it's lyrical. It's very heavy in language. Rodriguez doesn't do that, but
Right.
they write the same way, but the dialogue's not the same.
Right.
But in this movie, you get that banter, but it's not like long-winded like monologues like you would get with Tarantino.
Right.
But they're definitely from the same cloth. That's why they work together a lot.
Definitely.
But you got to see Desperado. We might have to do that
Yeah.
movie.
So what was the question again?
I don't remember.
It was first impressions. Okay, so I mean that was my first impression of the beginning of the movie.
Right.
Obviously, this movie is 2 movies.
Yeah, let's stick to movie 1 for a little bit here,
Yes.
because movie 2 goes off the rails a little bit. I don't know if you noticed.
Well,
Gets a little
dude,
wild toward the end.
Once you start seeing boobs,
So you want me to hold off on movie number 2 for now?
Well,
Yeah.
I just need to know, George, the scene with the reporter outside the courtroom where they're tallying the murders like a football score.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then, did you notice who she talked to from the bureau? Because I knew you wouldn't.
Mm,
you didn't recognize the guy she talked to?
who was
Just
it?
watched him like 2 weeks ago.
Who was
It's
it?
John
That's Nancy's
Saxon,
father.
the dad from Nightmare on Elm Street.
He popped up. I
We
was like,
told
oh,
you
God,
you'd be seeing him soon, and we'd see him later this year, and then you did, and you forgot.
Well, he was so mesmerized by Kelly Preston as the reporter.
That was him. I
Yeah.
just thought of the character like the nerdy 80s
Yeah, he was
father.
like, "We'll do whatever we need to do to apprehend them." Basically, it was a very bit part. Like it was basically he probably stopped by the set to say hey, and they're like, "Hey, you want to play?"
Yeah, put on this darker tie. Now you're an FBI guy. Yeah, but
Can you
John
just say
Saxon.
how hot Kelly Preston is. I'm sorry, she's so wow.
Who is she?
She was the reporter. She's
I don't even remember, bro.
oh my god, she's in a lot of movies. So you'll see.
I
her
don't
a
even
lot.
remember the main chick though. I've seen her in other things.
Juliette Lewis.
Yeah, I've seen her in other things. I recognized her.
Yes.
I can't remember what.
She's Audrey in Christmas Vacation.
Christmas Vacation is probably where
Okay,
you know her from.
that's probably what I know her from.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, I'm out in the yard in our pajamas. That girl.
What's funny about this movie and what's sad for George is that he doesn't have the frame of reference for George Clooney. Like before this, he was doing rom-coms and he was on ER. So he was not known for dropping F-bombs and being a badass and having tats up his neck. Like this was so out of the ordinary. I remember when this came out and he was in the trailer, people were like, "Wait, what?"
I don't have the time period
Right. I mean, you know who George
version
Clooney
of
is,
this.
right?
But I do know who George Clooney
Right.
is, and I know him as an actor that does not play in
Right.
this kind of movie. So when I saw him acting like this, I was impressed.
Okay, good.
I was like, I never seen him act like this, and I freaking love it.
But I remember back then, it was what year did this come out? Dan, was this 95?
96.
96. Yeah, he had just come off of ER, or he was finishing ER, and I think he did like One Fine Day and a couple like just romantic comedies. And
Right.
just to come and do this, and he freaking killed it.
Sure did.
Killed it.
Yeah.
And then that's what's so frustrating about when he played Batman was like, wait, where's that guy? Where's the guy that's a badass? And yeah, he was my favorite part of this movie by far, except for the bar scene.
This character would have been a hell of a Batman.
Yes,
What the heck, guys?
I know.
What the heck?
When they cast him, I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
me
I
too.
can see that. Yeah, it's so
Yeah.
frustrating. Well, I had the same problem with Schumacher with Lost Boys. I'm like, how did the guy who made Lost Boys make Batman Forever? Like, he knows how to do darkness. He knows how to do dark. He did Flatliners. Like, he had done dark movies before.
When
And then
didn't
he
he
went-
do 8mm?
He did 8mm as
So
well.
yeah, he has
Yeah.
a grip on that kind of.
That gritty, yeah.
What?
Ugh. What?
What? Hey, so George, here's an interesting bit of trivia on George Clooney since you don't know anything about Clooney in the olden days. He actually, before ER, was on Roseanne for a significant
Yes.
amount of time.
Was he really?
He was
He
on Facts of
was.
Life.
And he was on another
Was he
show
really?
called ER that was like a half-hour comedy in the 80s. And if anybody knows where I can find that on DVD, my brain needs to see that show just to understand how they
Wow.
could have a second show
I
called
didn't know that.
ER. Yeah, it's E/R. Good luck Googling that
Yeah.
because there's a slash in the middle. But
Yeah, you can't really Google that.
yeah, isn't that weird? Hi, this is Dan in Post. I managed to catch a couple clips of that old ER show on YouTube. Jason Alexander's there. George Clooney's wearing a leather vest for a lot of it. It's terrible. It's a bad show. I do still hope I can see more of it though. Woof.
But yeah, he was Joe's boyfriend, I think, on Facts of Life. That's where he first made his debut. So that's how long he's been around. And he was in Killer Tomatoes, I
Yeah,
believe.
we shouldn't take anything away from Return of the Killer Tomatoes. That's what I was just about to say. He did have a couple of movie roles before Roseanne.
Right.
But Yeah.
Who did he play on Roseanne? Was it the boyfriend of his sister?
He was
Of
like
her
the
sister?
diner boss
Oh, okay.
where they all
Yeah.
worked. And so kind of Ted Danson-y, and he had like sort of a Ted Danson hair. It's very weird if you go back and
Yeah.
watch.
No, I love Ted Danson.
But
by the way.
then
Yeah.
it's like dorky knockoff Ted Danson. You would never
Right.
know that guy was going to be famous. But ER,
Walmart.
holy moly,
Yeah.
he knocked it out of the park on ER for years. The good one, not the old one.
I'm going to look it up.
Man, but Dusk Till Dawn. Oh, George Clooney, so good. Where is this guy in Batman and Robin?
Yeah.
I'd almost give him a shot. Like for old
Mhm.
Batman, as we talk about multiverses and stuff, like if he's down, let's give him another shot.
I
you
would
know?
give him another shot with a good director.
I mean,
definitely.
imagine
Yeah.
if you took that
Yeah.
same world from Batman and this is copyright Dan, Remedial Film Class. Take the Batman and Robin universe, post some kind of cataclysm, right? Like the 9/11 of Gotham City just sends Batman into darkness. And now he's this guy from Dusk Till Dawn
Mhm.
with a cowl just kicking the hell out of people.
Mhm.
Dude,
I like it. I'm there.
sign me up.
And you can't even get Robert Rodriguez to direct that because he's kind of soft now too. He kind of went to the soft world.
I
He's
mean,
not hardcore anymore.
Grindhouse though, man, he's still got it in him.
Yeah, but he like made all the Spy Kid movies and stuff, so he kind of has.
Well,
been
he
doing
likes
that.
money, Travis.
Yeah, that's true.
Money is his friend.
That's true.
And he's good at it. I mean, from what I understand,
is
those
good.
movies are fun. Like,
He made a bad Predator movie though.
which one did he make?
I think he did Predators.
Is that the one with Keegan-Michael Key?
It's
most
the one with
recent one?
Adrian Brody.
Oh, no, he didn't do that one, did he?
Yeah, the Homeworld one. Yeah.
That movie blows. That's like the worst movie I saw this year.
Yeah, we were very excited that he got the nod because he had written a script back in the 90s for Predator 3, and then he never made it.
Oh.
He made this instead.
No. What?
So speaking of money,
What?
my daughter was watching Zootopia today,
Great movie.
and there's a scene where I don't know what it was, like a possum maybe or some small rodent.
Oh, the Godfather stuff?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I watched the whole scene.
Awesome. Such
I
a
was
good
like,
movie.
I love this shit.
Like-
I was like, oh, I get this now. I mean, I got it before, but I didn't really get it. I thought
Yeah.
I did, but now I really get it.
It's so good.
And I love how, like, it's like the weasel or whatever it was
He's like a shrew.
it's like
I
he
think he's
made-
like a shrew.
made me an offer I couldn't refuse. He offered me money.
Okay, I just have to jump in because I do not want to get sued for libel. Robert Rodriguez might have helped produce Predators, but he
Oh,
did
he didn't
not
make it.
direct it. So,
Okay.
phew. Actually, if he directed it, it probably would have been good. And
It probably
instead,
would have been good.
that
yeah.
might be the worst movie I watched this year. Guys, it's bad. Don't watch it.
Mm. But it does have Derek Mears as a Predator, so it's worth it for that reason.
And Topher Grace. Never mind.
Mhm.
Never mind.
Friend of the show.
Friend
Derek
of the show,
Mears.
Derek Mears.
Yep.
Can we talk about Harvey Keitel a little bit?
George, do you have any idea who Harvey Keitel is?
I know that name.
We've brought him up on the show before, but I don't know if you've ever seen his work.
No.
Well, he didn't. He saw him in Pulp Fiction. He was the cleaner.
Oh, yeah.
But
Yeah.
he's like huge and like the. Was he in Reservoir Dogs? I think he was in that as well.
I believe so.
Yeah, so he's like a constant badass in almost anything he does.
Mm.
To see him playing a mousy, subdued character, it's kind of like watching Duvall or De Niro, like De Niro in Foxy Brown. It's weird seeing him take the. Remember, he was kind of like the second bit character in Foxy
De
Brown.
Niro
where
Jackie
he-
Brown. Jackie Brown.
Jackie Brown, not Foxy
De
Brown.
Niro and Jackie Brown.
We were
What did
talking
he
about
do?
how he was kind of
What did he do in
subtle.
Jackie
He was like
Brown?
the asshole kind of hanging out at Sam Jackson's house, and
He ends
was the
up
one that
stealing
shoots
the
girl.
girl.
Oh,
and-
yeah. Oh, my God. Yes. Yes. Oh, God.
Yeah, to see them play
How'd
like
I forget-
smaller,
how'd I
subdued
forget
parts,
that?
You shouldn't have,
Dude, that character's amazing.
Yeah,
Oh, shit. Yep.
yeah. Keitel's the real deal.
But this is him playing against type, right? Your expectation as an audience is that he is just, speak softly and kick a lot of ass, badass guy.
Mhm.
And then he
Yep.
comes in here and he's a minister.
Yeah, he has
Soft-spoken.
feelings and he's
Yeah.
got morals and
But he's also
he's
struggling.
He's
with it,
struggling. Yeah, he's a real person.
Hell of an actor.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wasn't sure. For some reason, I felt like they were trying to make a connection between his dead wife and the woman that the Gecko brothers ran over when they were in the newscast. They're talking about how all the people they've killed and they're
Yeah.
living there was one woman who was part of a hit and run that they ran her over when they were escaping.
Yeah.
And I was like, it felt like they were trying to connect that was his wife that they ran over.
No.
But then when he told the story that she was in a car accident, but then I was like, wait, I gotta go back and see the picture because I feel like they were making that connection that they were at fault for his wife's death. But that would have been too on the nose.
Well, no,
Yeah.
and they couldn't have because she was actually James Gumm's sister, and so she was also the granddaughter of. No, not connected.
No, I wasn't trying to do that. Just would have been funny if they tried to make that connection.
There's 3 people listening right now that thought that was hilarious.
And they all have microphones in front of their face.
George, from the jump, you recognized Quentin Tarantino. You were not surprised because he's in the credits. Like, there was never a moment where you were like, "Oh, this guy's kind of crazy. Oh my God, that's Quentin Tarantino."
No, I didn't see his name in the credits at all. But I recognized him because I know what Tarantino looks like.
Gotcha.
And I was like, "Oh, he's acting like he's a real like full role here. This is cool."
I quote him pretty much once a day from this movie. I always say to somebody, I'm like, "It's cool, S.A. It's cool." I love when he does that. It's cool, S.A. It's cool.
Dude, when he like picks up his hand in the car, you can
And
see
looks
right
through it.
see right through it. Oh man.
Now, did you notice the credit that was on screen as he's lifting his hand up? Because it was very intentional.
The credit?
Was it Jesus?
No, they were crediting Kurt Singer, Nicotero, and Berger.
yeah.
Because they didn't credit them as K and B. They credited the full names. I think this is just
Right.
early in their run. But they're crediting the special effects crew as he's looking through the hand, which is a pretty cool nod. So you did you catch that at all, George, that Nicotero's involved? Your boy?
Yeah, Nicotero
No,
was
you
one.
know, I didn't look or read the credits. I've stopped looking and reading the credits because I don't want to know. Like it's kind of like a First Blood thing. Like
just
I don't want to see Sylvester Stallone on the screen.
Right.
Like the name. I just want to see the actor, the character, and be like, oh, I know that guy.
Right.
Like, so I didn't even see Nicotero's name, but with all the effects that I was watching, mostly in the second half, but also a little bit in the first.
Yeah, there's plenty of effects.
I did think of Nicotero.
Did you think of Tom Savini?
I definitely did.
Okay.
I saw Tom Savini.
Oh, good. Good. I wasn't sure. He was right next to Johnny Depp.
Dude. I was like...
Did you see Nicotero?
No. Where was Nicotero?
He was at the table, pulled a knife on Savini.
Oh,
and
that was
Savini
Nicotero.
The
pulled
guy
his
with the
dick
luscious
gun.
blonde locks sits down and he takes a little whip and takes his beer out of his hand.
Yeah, I know the guy.
Nicotero.
Yeah, and he pulls the knife, and then
he's got the sex machine guns.
Yep, he pulls whatever that contraption was. Yeah, I didn't recognize Nicotero. I don't really. I mean,
Yeah,
I've seen
he looks
Nicotero
totally different now.
I've seen him a handful of times on Talking Dead, but like
Well, he looks like he did in Day of the Dead. When he
okay,
was in
yeah.
Day of the Dead, so this was like 10 years later. He still had some weight to him and obviously looked a lot younger.
Did not recognize Nicotero, but I sure as hell recognize Tom Savini.
Yeah.
One of
better.
the one of the great shames of From Dusk Till Dawn is the advertising campaign.
Yes.
Very much knew that Salma Hayek was a marketable quantity, right?
Yes.
So they hit the commercial with her dancing in that bikini thing. And it worked, and they made a lot of money. But I kind of prefer the way that we marketed this to George, which was, here's this movie.
Mm-hmm.
And then for an hour, George thinks he's watching Quentin Tarantino.
Right.
Dude, you guys got me.
Well, in the trailer, they show
Seriously.
you that they turn.
That's
And
what I
that
mean. Like, they give the
pisses
whole
me
thing
off.
away. And
That should not have been revealed.
granted, you kind of have to get there.
No.
You're going to get people come see that movie having George Clooney, who was a pretty hot commodity at the time. Like, he was like world's sexiest man to People's Magazine. Like, he was a big star. You have Tarantino coming off of Pulp Fiction and I think Kill Bill.
Yeah,
He was
dude.
A household name.
Dude, if you include transformations or vampires or anything in the trailer or the marketing for this movie,
It's a failure.
it's a bad decision.
And that's what they did.
That's terrible.
Yeah. They
That
did.
means I had a very unique experience
Yes.
watching this movie. Even the people that watched this movie
Knew.
when it came out knew what was going on. I am so thankful.
You should be very excited.
Dude, I'm grinning. I can't not grin right now.
That's that ranks up there with revealing Michael Myers was an 8-year-old killer. Like,
Not quite. Not for
But
me.
what I'm saying, like in the trailer.
Oh, in the trailer.
In the trailer.
Yeah.
Like that's something that should have been a reveal to the audience while they're watching the movie. The vampire stuff
Sure.
should have been revealed as part of the movie, not in the trailer. There's
Not
nothing
at all. No.
that sells that movie more than the actors. You have Harvey Keitel. You have Juliette Lewis, who was coming off of like I think Natural Born Killers.
Yeah, dude.
and
It's, you know what it is? You know what it is? It's like, here's this new movie. It's called The Sixth Sense. And oh, by the way, Bruce Willis is dead the whole time.
right.
Here's the
Spoilers.
movie.
Spoilers.
Like,
Absolutely, I agree.
what?
Yeah.
I think that was the last time I was this surprised at a movie until now.
I'm patting you on the back, Dan, because that was something that we did discuss. We were like, do we lump this in a block of vampire movies, and then we're like, well, no, because it kind of the reveal is part of the awesome. So, and we decided we're just gonna pop it in there.
This would have been a good first movie for a whole slew of vampire movies. The first one, and I don't know that I'm watching a bunch of vampire movies until this episode, and you say, oh, by the way, we have like 12 more of these to show you.
Yes. Funny you should say that. No, I'm kidding.
Well, I'm really happy to hear it worked because as I was watching it today, because the last time I hadn't watched it for a long time, watched it maybe 6 months ago and loved it and was excited to do it on the show. But it was today, thinking about it through George's shoes, I was thinking, damn, George is going to think this is a Tarantino movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is going to work. George is going to hate it when it twists, but it's going to be worth it. And instead you liked it, and that's even better.
Yeah.
I did hate it for a minute.
You have to.
Probably a solid minute.
But then
I hated it.
You loved the obnoxiousness of it. Like it became
exactly.
It was like Shaun of the Dead.
Exactly.
They knew what movie they were. So anything outlandish.
It was it was like Tarantino, and then all of a sudden it's Scream.
Right.
Like a movie that's very aware of itself.
Right. But more like Shaun of the Dead, because if you didn't buy into that, half that movie you're just rolling your eyes.
Yeah.
But because you bought into it, it's one of your favorite movies. So same thing with American Werewolf. You can totally buy into it, or you'd be like, yeah, I don't want to laugh during my monster movies. So then you hate it.
Yeah.
So with this, it knew that once, and they knew right away. They put all the makeup artists in there as bikers. They have Machete in there. Trujillo, is that how you say his name?
Danny Trejo,
who's an icon in Rodriguez movies.
See the
Fred. He was the bartender.
He was the bartender. That's what I thought.
Fred Williamson, who's the black guy, who's like
he was someone that I figured I should know, but I didn't.
He's like,
I figured he
in the
was
black
big.
exploitation movies. Like he's an icon. He's kind of like
I figured.
Pam Grier. He's like the male Pam Grier of the time.
and he's a former Kansas City Chief. Watch
Right.
out.
What?
He's a safety. They called him the Hammer. Like, that's a
The
pretty
Hammer.
cool name.
Yeah,
That's what they should have called him here.
He's so good,
And then
man.
freaking Cheech Marin plays 3 characters in this movie.
Yeah.
3 characters, yeah.
And it's like, it just needed some. Tommy Chong needed to be in there somewhere. Maybe he was. I don't know. But
He
but
might have been.
I loved again. Cheech Marin was at that time was just everywhere. It was like at the peak of his career, where he was able to do things on his own. He did multiple movies in the 90s, so it's like he was a good get.
This reminded me of like, well, it's not zombies, it's vampires, but it was like a vampire version or like zombie version of like The Expendables.
Right.
But not with characters. Well, yeah, with characters, but also
All
with
character
like,
actors. Like this whole
yeah.
movie's full character actors, except for Clooney.
yeah.
Did we lose Dan?
No, I'm still here. I'm
Oh,
just
okay.
basking in
I
how
heard
much...
an echo. I was like, wait, uh-oh.
Nope, just basking in how fun this movie was. Fred Williamson
Yeah.
body slamming 4 strippers onto 4 different table legs. Wow.
Yeah.
Was he even sure they were vampires at that point, or was he just...
I don't think he gave a shit. if these were the way they did the bikers in Dawn of the Dead, I would have completely loved it. But they didn't.
But they don't
they
do this movie if they don't have Dawn of the Dead. Like, one thing
Right.
about these,
No, I agree.
these vampires are closer to zombies in terms of the execution than you see vampire movies at this time. Like, this is in very, very many terms a mix of kind of vampirism and zombie execution in terms of plot and the kind of final Alamo thing that's very much a zombie movie thing more than a vampire movie thing. Of course, one of the weirder things is, until Romero, zombies are not vampiric, right? They're mind controlled and you know, it's not a disease or whatever spread by the bites. So if anything, Romero was borrowing from vampirism for Night of the Living Dead, and so now you kind of come full circle as these are vampires, but let's sprinkle in a little zombie lore and zombie trope just to hammer home the big fight.
And I love how they work in the trope of, or the tradition of vampires where they can't enter unless they're invited.
Yes.
And they kind of touch on that, if you're aware of that, when the bartender says, you're not welcome here. You're not supposed to be here. You're not one of us. You're not whatever. But then the switch is like, once he basically says, I do belong because I'm a truck driver, this and that.
Well, yeah, he says, I want to, basically he says, I want to be here. He doesn't say those exact words, but he says.
So they want bikers and truckers because that's their meals. That's where they're going to get their meals.
Right.
Because they're travelers. They're coming through constantly.
No one's going to miss them.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, they'll be missed, but it's like it's just a constant convoy of meat coming through there. So he basically signed their death warrant when he said, no, we are truckers. Like they should have been saved. They should have not gone in.
Pride cometh before the fall, or whatever. He was a proud trucker, man.
Yep. That I'm gonna probably go home tonight and watch it again. Like, I forgot how good it was.
It's getting a 4K release soon. I'm very excited.
Nice.
That's a day one buy from me.
I mean, it's Salma Hayek at her prime. It's and how good is the kid? Like, I don't remember him being in anything else, but man, he held his own.
Wait, what kid?
The Keitel's son.
The brother of Juliette Lewis.
The brother of Juliette Lewis. Like, he's on screen with some major screen icons.
I thought he was terrible.
You do?
Yeah.
I thought he held his own.
Terrible.
Well, he didn't really do much acting. But
terrible.
I don't know. I know if it was me, I'd be freaking scared shitless being on screen with all those people.
Sure.
I think he played the kid role well. Like, he was uncomfortable. Well, I think he did it on purpose. It might have been a direction. I don't know.
No. Well, I mean, listen. Opinions are like assholes, but my opinion was that he was terrible. I was like, get him off the screen.
Well, they didn't give him a lot to do.
You know what he was? He was like, what was that kid's name? Timmy or Tommy in The Walking Dead? That when he's, Mom?
Yeah.
Mom? Like, when he finally got bit, you were like, yes, the kid's dead. Because everyone hated the kid. That's how I felt about
That's like the boyfriend
Jacob
in Shaun of the
or
Dead.
Jake or whatever.
The one who likes Liz.
Oh.
When he finally gets eaten, you're like, yes.
Yes.
Make sure you shoot him on the way out.
Oh, God.
Just don't do a headshot because I still want to see him eaten.
Yeah.
And he gets gutted pretty good in that, if I remember right. That's pretty gross. So you get your comeuppance, or he does at least.
I guess we're going to the end. I love the weapon that he has, too. The Clooney makes that jackhammer.
The jackhammer with the wood spear.
It's so ridiculous.
It feels very
how does
Evil Dead.
How does it even work? But okay,
no,
yeah,
it does.
Cool.
It goes. It's the mid-90s, like you said. It's like Army of Darkness time period.
Yeah.
What's another one? It's kind of like
Well, and it gets kind of echoed in the first part of Grindhouse with the machine gun leg.
Right. Oh yeah. It's definitely a Rodriguez thing.
Which I'm fine with. I like everything that guy does. He's so cool.
Oh, me too.
Even his like cooking school special features on the Blu-rays. Have you ever watched any of those?
Oh really?
Yeah, just because he'll teach you how to cook like different dishes, just for fun as an extra.
See, now I feel like we need to introduce you to Antonio Banderas.
Okay, I'm down.
Like prime.
Can we talk about their weapons?
Sure.
Weapons were so cool.
Yeah.
Like the preacher has the cross that's also a shotgun.
Mm-hmm.
And I know they weren't shotgun shells, but like all the bullets that they had, they like carved crosses into. Dude,
In a lot of
that's
ways,
dope. That's so good.
the last scene of the movie, like the final big fight, right? It breaks
Yeah.
down into like a Dungeons and Dragons kind of game where everybody has their role in their class and their attack based on what they do, you know? It's very much just like a tabletop game.
Well, I like the fact that he felt when he was driving with his family, he basically was talking about how he lost his purpose and lost his worth and all that stuff. And then in the end, he had his purpose, and the fact that he was an ordained minister, he was able to bless the bullets, he was able to bless everything.
Yep.
And make it relic type stuff so that they could fight the undead. Pretty sweet. So he found his purpose.
Yeah.
But then he bit it.
Luckily, Sex Machine was there to protect him for a little while with his dick gun.
That's true.
I love how he was trying to conceal the fact that he was a vampire. That's like my favorite. I mean, he's not Tom Savini's not De Niro. He's not
Friend of the show,
Yeah.
Tom Savini.
I know. He has his style. Whenever he's in a movie, he's always playing Tom Savini.
Yeah.
He has one shot where he's in the background, like he's out of focus,
Yes.
but he's reacting so over the top, just like mouth agape, wide-eyed at something happening in the foreground. Oh my God, he's so funny. I love Tom Savini.
He's like the there's a whole compilation on YouTube of extras in movies that are just like you're like, dude, you had one job.
Yeah. Just act.
You're guy number 73 in line. You don't have to be
act,
like,
just act normal.
yeah, just act normal. You don't have to sell it. Don't play to the guy in the back of the room. But yeah, when he's like, it reminded me of, I know.
I thought it was good. I mean, I didn't
Yeah.
think it was bad. It was silly, but it was good.
Dan, do you think we'll ever watch Buffy the Vampire Slayer?
Negative.
Like the Christy Swanson version?
Probably not, but I mean,
Okay.
maybe.
So it reminded me of, and it's kind of the same time period. Pee Wee Herman,
Mhm.
Paul Rubens plays a vampire in that movie.
Okay.
And he has a death scene.
Okay.
And he gets stabbed with a stake, but he's like pretending to die, and he's like, and he looks to see if they're still watching him, and he's like, and he starts kicking the wall, like it's just obnoxious. And every time I see Tom Savini do that stuff in the background, I think of Paul Rubens. It's a funny scene.
Yeah, Rubens is just trying to get the guy to get a yellow card, right? Just I'm dying. Oh, I'm not going to get the call. Okay, I'm fine. I'm
Yeah.
done. Yeah, that concealing the bite. That is straight up every zombie movie, right? Like that's not really a vampire movie thing from what I've seen. Like
No.
That's just we're having fun here. It's kind of zombie movie. It's kind of a vampire movie.
Well, it's Nicotero. It's like all the zombie guys got to do this movie, so they're like, yeah, I can make this look way better if we just go this route.
Well,
You know,
and one thing you're never going to get in, never say never, but one thing I've never seen in a zombie movie to date is a guitar made of a dead guy's torso with some big fleshy thing jammed up his butt. Like, I don't know what the neck of the guitar is, but all right.
When I saw that, I was like, oh, here goes a half-hour guitar talk we're going to have. But it's going to be a little different.
I think that they used that particular body because he had
Was that a Gibson?
He had a piezo in his neck. Is the reason why.
Actually, it sounds the same as the one I've got, I think.
It sounds
Yeah.
exactly the same as your PRS.
I wasn't
because
sure if it was
every
a
piezo
Fender.
sounds the same.
That's really funny.
That's funny. That band was somebody, too. I can't
No, it
remember
was
who
a
the band
Warlock or
Was
an
it a Warlock?
LTD or something.
They rocked really hard, though, man.
Yeah,
like, the
there's
music in this
somebody-
movie is very good.
You know, I was thinking that too. That the band was really good.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of the band. It's probably in the credits.
in that bar. I was like, you don't get this kind of, live music at a bar generally.
Especially one
was- it
that's a
was very
strip
good.
club / vampire den.
Called the Titty
Although
Twister.
Blues Brothers was a pretty good bar band.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Blues Brothers didn't do any sexy songs. The sexy song they do in this movie, it's just like rocks. Like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
just,
it really
it's
does.
got a groove to it that you're like, man, they can't fake this. Like this is real music.
Yep.
Cool.
Very good.
And then, the Salma Hayek thing, she made a lot
Hmm.
of people come to the theater to watch this movie. Even though it had to
Damn.
turn and ruin the end of the movie for everybody that went to see it. But
Yeah.
but they like
could have
making
shown her in the
money on
trailer.
these movies.
Yeah. But they could have shown her in the trailer without the transformation, and it would have sold tickets.
Yeah,
mean,
that might
she-
be true.
I don't think at that time there was anybody hotter than her in the early mid-90s. But she was in Desperado. That's kind of where she got her start. And that was maybe 3 years prior to this. That was like 92.
Yeah, thereabouts.
So, yeah, she would have sold plenty of tickets just showing her with that snake. You didn't have to show the transformation at all.
Yeah.
And I like the whole Aztec thing. Like, you don't think about that they're all wearing headdress and all that stuff, the dancers, and then at the very end they show you the platform pyramid, which just tells you how long they've been there. This is how we were supposed to gush over Godfather 2. Ay vey.
I did a little extracurricular. I was poking around on YouTube, trying to figure out, like, what is it that I was missing in Godfather 2 that I should have seen? And I remain unconvinced. I saw some big breakdowns of the giant conspiracy, and it was fine. It was nice to hear it all stated in one place, but there's a part where it's been a few weeks now. I don't remember the specific issue I had with the conspiracy, but when the video got to that part, they were just like, and then some stuff, and then the next part of the conspiracy, I'm like, oh yeah, you don't get it either. Like, that part sucks. Thank you for making this video to back that up. And it's fine, right? Good. I'll watch it
Sure.
again. I'll probably watch it again sooner because I disliked it more this time, and I want to just give it another shot.
What was the... I actually feel like I should watch
Yeah,
that
what is the
movie again, too.
conspiracy?
Yeah, what's the conspiracy?
The big thing where it's like Michael says it's everybody,
Oh.
but then he supposedly knows, or maybe he doesn't know, but then maybe he knew the whole time, but maybe he just finds out when Fredo says the thing. But then the guy that gets
Yeah.
strangled in the bar, like, Michael Corleone says hello, but actually Michael didn't send him to get killed, but the movie never establishes that. So you're
And
supposed to think that Michael
that
did
was
it.
an improv line.
But then
That
now,
was an
no, they're saying it wasn't an improv line because it doesn't make sense that it would be improv, because taken on
Michael-
the face of it, you would then think, at the end that what's his name? Who's the big bad in
Danny,
that movie?
It's the big bad.
The
What was,
Floridian guy. The old
Yeah.
guy.
Whoever he is, yeah.
Who's always on his deathbed for 30 years. Hyman.
Yeah.
So Hyman sends that guy to say Michael Corleone says hello, and that's why he survives that inexplicably survives the murder attempt. So,
Yeah.
but they're trying
Well-
they're trying to say that the cop was set up by Hyman, as was the guy who said Michael Corleone says hello, so that this perfectly executed plan with no wiggle room would happen, so that guy would turn state's witness and take down I'm just like, this is exhausting.
Well, the lore is they call it the Aiello event or something. Danny Aiello, who's becomes a big major actor, he's the one that says Michael Corleone says hello or whatever. They've all confirmed that that's not in the script, and he said that, and they kept it. That's why it threw so many things out of whack, because it's kind of like the abortion thing where it was on the fly, and it changed the story.
Last minute.
That's a
last
big
minute
mess.
thing.
Yeah, I mean, you
Yeah.
can't let people change your I mean, can you
No,
imagine in like in the
it was
first
all about
imagine in
wanted-
Godfather 1 if Sonny all of a sudden was like, I'm not really your son, and I'm it's like, wait, no, you can't. We just oh
Can't
god.
change the story. Yeah, apparently the SAG rules are if you don't say anything on screen, you don't get credit. You don't get a SAG
Oh,
card.
so the story is
he
that he did it just
blurted
to
out the line.
Oh, that's
He
fun.
wanted his card, which
Mm.
worked out because Aiello became a huge actor, Oscar nominated, blah blah blah. But
I mean, in some ways, you could argue that like it mirrors real life in that chaos exists, and that moment, whether he was sent by Hyman to say Michael Corleone to set up the guy who they didn't kill to become a state's witness to take down Michael Corleone, or if he wasn't supposed to say it, but he did, but it was just happenstance that the cop actually just happened to walk in on them trying to kill a guy. But then, like, Michael didn't order that hit. So even if the guy doesn't say Michael says hello, that hit, if Michael didn't order it, doesn't... Like, you're playing with fire, making a movie that kind of convoluted, right? It's not complex. It's just hard to keep track of. And it seems at times that you really don't know what you're getting toward. You're just trying to get stuff in the can and then tie it together later as a narrative.
But here we are 3 weeks later, we're still talking about it.
I mean, it's in my head now, man.
I think it's because we want to love it.
Yeah.
I want it to be good, man.
Well, I know a lot of people said they hated it the first time they watched it, and then they watched it again. So, I mean, it does deserve a second watch, but not a second time on the episodes.
No.
We need to do like
Move
one
on.
giant episode covering RoboCop, Godfathers 2,
everything.
Silent Night, Deadly Night. Give them all a second look, just a review and redo. But one episode of all the movies.
We'll do it the night we watch Butt Work.
Butt Work.
Someone tell Tom Savini that the blood in this movie looks really good.
Even the green blood looks good.
Yeah.
Like the green 3M is even better
It's
than the
good
red.
shit.
Well, I think it's 4M. I think is how they
It's
fixed
for
that.
him.
Ah.
The only thing that's kind of dated in this movie is the CGI transformations.
Yeah.
They kind of were glitchy.
But they're so
the
quick.
makeup was amazing.
You know, they
Yeah.
don't like... Because I was sitting there watching, I was like, okay, she's about to transform. How bitchy is George going to get? And I was like, you know what? It's so fast. They don't rely on the computer as much as like Spawn did around the same time, or Mortal Kombat, right? Where it's just, it's laughably bad CGI. This was CGI used right, which is to get you from one practical to a second practical.
It was like T2.
Yeah.
The way T2, they were like, all right, we have this technology. We're going to use it just at the right spots, and that'll be fine.
So you don't overexpose, right?
Right.
Yeah, there were certain things that, you know, in the transformations when, you know, that kind of brought me out of the movie for a second.
Yeah.
But then again, like,
There's enough practical
I
in
had
it.
to take all of the practical into account when we're talking about the effects. You don't get much better practical than this.
No.
Like, it was so good that, like, the little bit of CGI that was there that you could tell, like, things that just didn't, like, quite look right. And you're right, they only lasted for a second. Like,
when they melted into the ground, you kind of saw, like, it was almost like watching Michael Jackson Remember the Time video where something morphs into something else.
Yeah.
And it's, like, real quick, and it's forgivable because the practical's so good.
Right.
And don't forget the part where the guy's eyeballs roll down the corner pockets of the pool table. That's so silly. I love it so much.
Yeah, some of the best practical was like there were multiple shots where one of the characters would be stabbing, you know, with a stake, and you're looking at it from the point of view of the I almost said zombie, of the vampire being stabbed, and there's like
Splurted.
squirts of
Oh,
like
God.
green.
Yeah. This movie has Nicotero all over it.
Dude, it was so good, man.
I can imagine, like, Savini standing there basically realizing he wasn't part of the effects, but just reveling in the fact that this is a product of the 10 or 15 years of him and Nicotero collaborating.
I was going to
finally-
ask that. How long had Nicotero and Savini been together at this point? Because
like Dan said, it wasn't billed as K&B, so it was probably before they became K&B. So this is probably maybe a year or two after they
joined up
left Savini.
before. Well, remember though, Jason Goes to Hell is like 93 or 94.
Yeah.
So they're a couple of years into the run, but they're not yet established as the force that they will be.
Right.
Although I think this movie probably did a whole hell of a lot to get them
I'm
to
sure.
that point. Jeez Louise.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the practical's pretty freaking sweet. And what's funny is the time period is Buffy the Vampire Slayer TV show era.
Right.
Angel, like all those vampires are all over TV, and they all had that same foam eye appliances, which made their eyebrows look real big.
Mm-hmm.
And it basically was when they transformed, and they just took it like a step further. Like, okay, we're gonna do appliances, but they're all gonna look different. Like Danny Trejo kind of looked like a Buffy the Vampire Slayer from the TV show Vampire, but then you had some of them wearing full costumes. Some look like snakes. Like they just they changed it up a lot.
It was kind of
Yeah,
like Space
perfect.
Jam.
Kind of.
Kinda.
What's his name? Savini turned into an ROUS.
Yes. I rodent of unusual size. Yes. That was pretty funny.
And he burned Princess Bride style, which I think you have to do, right? If you have a giant
Yeah.
rodent, you have to burn it.
Yep.
And then what's his name? Fred Williamson's vampire looked more like the Night Flyer, like Stephen King Night Flyer vampire, where he had like this. What was that movie? I think one of the Blade movies, the vampires had like a detachable face where they could really unhook their jaw and really wrap around with their biting.
You know what
So,
he
yeah, there
looked
was,
like, man? Because I love Fred Williamson, but he looked like a Goomba from the Super Mario Brothers movie,
Yeah.
and I couldn't not see that.
See, back then I was thinking more like Rawhead Rex, because that was kind of a B horror movie back at the time, and it had the same kind of look. But yeah, the Goomba, it definitely has a Goomba look.
We watch that next.
That's a terrible movie. I don't know if I could get through that.
My kid the other day, he was like, "Hey, I want to watch a movie tonight," and I'm like, "Oh, that's cool. You want me to pick it?" He's like, "Yeah, as long as it's not weird like that Mario movie."
Ugh. I'd rather watch like Masters of the Universe, which is still unforgivable, but way better than Mario Brothers. Ugh.
Haters gonna hate. No, it is terrible. It's the worst, and it tries so hard to be like the Batman Begins of Mario, and then it just what?
And they had two good actors. It's almost like a waste. Three, because it's got Dennis Hopper,
Yeah,
Bob Hoskins, and
Leguizamo. Yeah,
They just missed opportunity. Bad director.
bad lot of things.
Bad a lot of things.
I like that my
Because
kid has
90s.
better taste than I do. He also hates new metal. Anytime I play something from Korn, he's like, "Oh, good, new metal, turn it off." I'm like, all right.
Good
I mean,
kid.
You're right. I should.
It's funny.
Good kid.
Raising him right, man.
Is this your oldest kid?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's a good
Yeah,
kid.
he's 8 going on 25.
Yeah, I got one of those. Now he's approaching 25. But when he was 8, he was going on 25.
Yeah.
He was so much older then. He's younger than that now.
What else do we say?
What else can you
I
say
don't
about this
know.
movie? It rocks hard, man. What do you think about the ending, George?
It was consistent.
I would have liked to see her go with him.
That's why I say it was consistent. You know, he
Yeah.
says in the RV that, listen, I don't care about your family.
Right.
I don't care if you live. If you died this second, I wouldn't care. And even at the very end, just the fact that he throws her a couple $1,000.
Yeah, he should have given her more. Didn't they rob a bank?
Yeah. But a couple $1,000
Here, I
shows
just killed your brother and your father.
Yeah, shows he cares, right?
Yeah.
Shows he cares, but he doesn't care that much.
Right. So yes, he is consistent.
It's consistent. I love it.
They were at when this movie came out, they were actually talking about making a prequel of just those two guys. Because I would watch an entire trilogy of them too.
So would I.
Even now, I'd like to see them revisited. I mean, Clooney's not what he used to be, but
Yeah.
he's a good enough actor where he could pull it together and do something.
He's my old Batman. Watch your mouth. Hey, so
Yeah.
here's the thing,
Friend
though.
of the show.
So the movie has like no arc for the characters. So I think expanding it into a trilogy doesn't make a lot of sense because we've just established like this guy lost his brother and killed a whole family and he didn't change. Like, what's his arc going to be for the first 2 movies? I don't know.
No, a prequel I think would give you a lot of room to build up to how he got. It would almost be like a Here's Negan kind of thing where you get to see where these guys come from and how they got to that point. There's plenty of story there.
I disagree with Dan. He did change.
Well, he changed once they went over the border. He changed.
No, he changed. This experience changed him, but not so much that he wasn't him.
Right.
Anymore. Like,
Well, he's still a shitty person.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah,
He's
here's a
just
couple
less
$1,000.
shitty.
Sorry for fucking up your life.
Right.
You
I know I kidnapped your family.
Get
and took you-
lost.
brought you into this, but yeah, here's a couple thou.
How the hell does she get across the border? Like, what's her experience 10 minutes after this movie or 2
Right.
days after this movie when she finally gets back to the U.S. border covered in blood, family
She
missing?
meets up with Woody Harrelson. And then you get, Natural Born Killers.
Or Javier Bardem, and you get either No Country for Old Men
Right.
or Perdita de Rengo, which I want to watch with you guys at some point. Holy mackerel.
Yeah, it would be a fun sequel to see what happened after that with her.
She just like walks across the border, throws the suitcase full of money over the border wall, plans on coming back for it later, runs into a different Woody Harrelson. It's a whole thing. What's he doing around the border all the time? Woody.
I don't know. Well, Cheers closed, so.
God, that would be a
but
hell of
this
a...
bar's better. This bar's better.
Turns out that Woody owns the titty twister. He left Cheers to strike out on his own. Left Sam behind and opened a bar of his own in Mexico so he wouldn't have to pay taxes.
Kirstie Alley's a featured dancer.
Oh.
Shelley Long is actually Cheech Marin. No, that's Carla. Carla would be Cheech Marin. Oh, shit. I'd watch that.
Yeah, man.
Or Danny DeVito.
Holy moly. Well, I think for once we actually found one that everybody agreed on. What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, we got to fuck this up next week. Find a movie somebody hates.
George, have you ever seen Weird Science?
Nope.
Do you know what Weird Science is? Do you
Nope.
have any knowledge of it?
Nope.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's do it.
All right, sounds good.
So next week you're going to be watching a movie about a kid. No. This should be pretty interesting.
Yeah, I'm going to be interested to see how this plays.
Sounds good. Let's do it.
Weird
Awesome.
Science. No. All right. Thank you for joining us on the Remedial Film Class Podcast. As always, you can find us on Facebook.com/RemedialFilmPod. You can find us at Twitter and Instagram at RemedialFilmPod. And you could email us remedialfilmpod@gmail.com. If you're watching this video on YouTube, we're also on every podcatcher imaginable, so just check out the Remedial Film Class Podcast on Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, or anywhere else you find audio podcasts. And heck, if you're listening on your phone or on an audio platform, we're on YouTube. Jump on over and check out the extra features we throw into the videos. We'll see you next week with the 1980s classic comedy Weird Science.